Have you ever wondered why some of the most extraordinary people in history seem to struggle in their early years, only to bloom magnificently later in life? There's something profound happening here that psychiatrist Dr. Brian Weiss has been exploring through decades of past life regression therapy. What he's discovered about certain rare personality types will completely shift how you understand success, timing, and your own spiritual journey. In his groundbreaking work, Dr. Weiss has identified patterns that suggest some souls come into this lifetime carrying ancient wisdom, deep sensitivity, and a mission that doesn't align with conventional early success. These individuals often feel like outsiders, misunderstood, or like they're walking a different path entirely. But here's the remarkable part. This apparent struggle in youth is actually preparation for something much greater. Today we're going to explore why the rarest personality type, what Weiss calls the old soul, often experiences their greatest triumphs later in life, and why this timing is actually perfect divine orchestration. We'll dive deep into the spiritual mechanics behind this phenomenon, examine real-life examples, and most importantly, help you recognize if you're one of these extraordinary souls currently in your preparation phase. If you feel a resonance with this energy, subscribe and activate notifications, leave in the comments. I'm ready to evolve spiritually. This community is built for souls who recognize there's more to life than what meets the eye. Dr. Brian Weiss's journey into understanding these rare personalities began when he was a traditional psychiatrist at Yale and later Mount Sinai Medical Center. He was trained in classical medicine, believing only in what could be proven scientifically. But in 1980, everything changed when he began working with a patient named Catherine, who under hypnosis began recounting what appeared to be past life memories. Initially, Dr. Weiss was skeptical, even troubled by these revelations. However, Catherine began sharing information she couldn't possibly have known, including details about Dr. Weiss's own deceased son and father. This experience forced him to expand his understanding of consciousness, healing, and the nature of the human soul. What emerged from thousands of subsequent sessions was a profound map of how certain souls navigate multiple lifetimes. According to Weiss's research, which parallels the work of pioneers like Dolores Cannon, some individuals carry what he terms soul memory, experiences and wisdom accumulated across many incarnations. These old souls often incarnate with specific purposes: to heal, to teach, to bridge spiritual and material worlds, or to anchor higher frequencies on Earth during times of transition. The challenge these souls face is that they're operating with an expanded consciousness in a world designed for more linear thinking. They feel things more deeply, see patterns others miss, and often struggle with what feels like a mismatch between their inner knowing and external expectations. This is why traditional markers of early success, academic achievement, social popularity, conventional career paths, often feel foreign or unrewarding to them. Dolores Cannon, whose work beautifully complements Weiss's findings, described these souls as volunteers who chose to incarnate during Earth's current transformational period. They often feel homesick for somewhere they can't quite remember, experience deep sensitivity to energy and emotion, and carry an inexplicable knowing that they have important work to do, even when that work isn't yet clear. The primary challenge these rare personalities face is what Dr. Weiss calls soul misalignment in their early years. Imagine trying to run sophisticated software on a system that's not quite ready for it. That's often the experience of old souls in young bodies navigating modern society. These individuals frequently report feeling different from their peers from a very young age. They might be the child who talks to imaginary friends who seem remarkably real, who has profound philosophical questions at age 5, or who feels overwhelming empathy for others' pain. In school, they might struggle not because they lack intelligence, but because traditional educational systems don't accommodate their way of processing information. Dr. Weiss has documented how these souls often experience what he calls premature awakening, spiritual awareness that emerges before they have the life experience or emotional tools to integrate it effectively. This can manifest as anxiety, depression, feeling like an outsider, or a sense of carrying a heavy burden they can't quite understand. The conventional world often labels these children as sensitive, difficult, or even troubled. They might struggle with traditional authority structures, feel overwhelmed by social dynamics, or show little interest in pursuits that excite their peers. Parents and teachers, not understanding the depth of these souls, sometimes try to fix them or push them toward more conventional paths. Another significant challenge is what Weiss terms purpose ambiguity. These souls often know they have important work to do, but can't access the specifics early in life. This creates a frustrating sense of urgency without direction. They might jump from interest to interest, relationship to relationship, or career to career, searching for the thing that will finally make sense of their inner calling. Share in the comments an experience where you felt the presence of spiritual mentors or an inner transformation. Your story might be the confirmation someone else needs to hear. The transformation process for these rare personalities typically follows what Dr. Weiss calls the spiral awakening pattern. Unlike linear development, their growth happens in cycles, with each cycle bringing deeper integration of their soul's wisdom with their human experience. The first phase usually occurs in the late teens to early 20s, when the initial shock of trying to fit into conventional molds begins to wear off. These individuals start questioning not just their own path, but the very foundations of how society operates. They might experience their first conscious spiritual awakening, often triggered by a crisis, loss, or profound experience that cracks open their awareness. During this phase, many old souls discover meditation, energy work, metaphysical studies, or healing modalities. They might feel drawn to ancient wisdom traditions, alternative healing, or ways of understanding reality that their earlier education never addressed. This is often when they first encounter the work of pioneers like Dr. Weiss, Dolores Cannon, or other consciousness researchers. The second transformation phase typically occurs in the 30s, what Weiss calls the integration decade. By this point, these souls have usually experienced enough of conventional life to understand its limitations. They've often tried traditional careers, relationships, and lifestyle choices, only to find them unsatisfying despite external success. This dissatisfaction isn't failure, it's their soul's wisdom guiding them toward their true purpose. This is when the real magic begins. The very qualities that made them feel like misfits in youth, their sensitivity, their different way of seeing, their resistance to conventional thinking, suddenly become their greatest assets. They begin to understand that their struggles weren't obstacles to overcome, but training for the work they came to do. Dr. Weiss has observed that old souls often experience what he calls accelerated growth during this period. Years of feeling blocked or confused can suddenly give way to rapid expansion and clarity. It's as if all the preparation, all the seeming detours, suddenly click into place as part of a perfectly orchestrated plan. The final major transformation usually occurs in the 40s and beyond, when these souls step fully into their purpose. They've learned to trust their inner guidance, developed the skills and wisdom necessary for their mission, and most importantly, learned to value their differences rather than hide them. This is when their greatest contributions to the world typically emerge. The impact of these rare personalities on individual lives cannot be overstated. Dr. Weiss's research reveals that old souls serve as what he calls frequency anchors for humanity. Their very presence helps elevate consciousness on the planet, often without them even realizing it. In personal relationships, these individuals often struggle initially because they seek depth and authenticity in a world that often operates on surface-level interactions. They might have fewer friends but form incredibly deep bonds. Their romantic relationships often follow unconventional patterns. They might marry later in life, have unusual age gaps with partners, or find love in unexpected circumstances. Career-wise, these souls rarely find fulfillment in traditional corporate structures unless they can infuse their work with their deeper purpose. Many become entrepreneurs, healers, teachers, artists, or innovators. They're often the people who start movements, create paradigm shifts, or develop solutions that serve humanity's evolution rather than just generating profit. One of the most profound impacts Dr. Weiss has documented is these souls' relationship with time itself. While others might feel pressure to achieve certain milestones by specific ages, Old souls often operate on what he calls soul time, a rhythm that honors their spiritual development over societal expectations. This is why they often achieve their greatest success later in life, when their inner and outer development finally align. The emotional impact of recognizing yourself as this type of soul can be transformational. Many of Dr. Weiss's patients report feeling profound relief when they understand that their struggles weren't personal failures, but part of a larger spiritual journey. The loneliness they felt begins to make sense as the temporary isolation necessary for developing their unique gifts. If this message touched your soul, leave a like so more consciousnesses can awaken to the light. Your engagement helps this wisdom reach the souls who need to hear it most. Dr. Weiss has identified several key signs that someone possesses this rare personality type. Understanding these markers can help individuals recognize their path and stop fighting against their nature. One of the strongest indicators is what he calls childhood spiritual awareness. These souls often remember having profound spiritual experiences as children, seeing energy around people, knowing things they shouldn't logically know, or feeling deeply connected to nature and animals. Many report having imaginary friends who seemed remarkably real, or receiving guidance from sources they couldn't identify. Another significant marker is emotional hypersensitivity. These individuals often feel emotions more intensely than others, both their own and those of people around them. They might leave crowded places feeling drained, have strong reactions to violence or suffering, even in movies or news, or feel overwhelmed by others' emotions without understanding why. Dr. Weiss has also noted a pattern he calls early wisdom, coupled with late practical development. These souls often display remarkable insight and understanding about life, relationships, and human nature from a young age, but struggle with practical skills like traditional academic success, social navigation, or conventional goal achievement. Many possess what he terms intuitive knowing. They understand things without being able to explain how they know. They might predict events, sense people's true intentions, or have strong feelings about decisions that later prove correct. This intuitive capacity often frustrates them early in life because it doesn't fit into logical frameworks. Career dissatisfaction is another strong indicator. These souls often feel called to meaningful work, but struggle to find it within conventional structures. They might change careers multiple times, feel unfulfilled despite external success, or have entrepreneurial urges that seem to come from nowhere. Dr. Weiss has documented extensive case studies supporting these patterns. One particularly compelling example involves a woman named Sarah who struggled academically and socially throughout her youth, despite being obviously intelligent. She changed majors multiple times in college, held various jobs that left her feeling empty, and battled depression throughout her 20s. During past life regression therapy with Dr. Weiss, Sarah discovered she had been a healer in multiple previous lifetimes. This revelation helped her understand her intense sensitivity to others' pain and her inexplicable knowledge of herbs and natural remedies. At 35, she began studying naturopathic medicine and eventually established a healing practice that has helped thousands of people. Another case involves Michael, who felt like a failure because he couldn't commit to traditional career paths. Through regression work, he discovered he had been a teacher and spiritual guide in several lifetimes. This understanding helped him recognize that his difficulty with conventional authority structures stemmed from his soul's memory of teaching from direct experience rather than prescribed curricula. He eventually became a spiritual teacher and author, finding success in his 50s. That far exceeded what he could have achieved following traditional paths. Statistical research conducted by Dr. Weiss and his colleagues suggest that approximately 10–15% of the population carries these old soul characteristics, but many never recognize or develop their gifts because they spend their lives trying to fit into conventional molds. Write in the comments, "Today I free myself from old patterns and embrace the light of spiritual renewal." Your declaration helps anchor this transformation not just for you, but for the collective consciousness. The solution for these rare personalities isn't to change who they are, but to recognize and align with their true nature. Dr. Weiss has developed what he calls the Soul Alignment Protocol, a framework for helping old souls step into their power and purpose. The first step is recognition and acceptance. This involves understanding that being different isn't a flaw to be fixed, but a gift to be developed. Dr. Weiss encourages these individuals to stop trying to succeed according to others' timelines and expectations, and instead tune into their own soul's rhythm and guidance. The second step involves developing what he calls spiritual intelligence, learning to access and trust their intuitive knowing while also developing practical skills for manifesting in the physical world. This often includes meditation, energy work, past life regression, or other consciousness-expanding practices that help them access their full potential. The third step is what Dr. Weiss terms purpose discovery, using their expanded awareness to identify their soul's specific mission for this lifetime. This rarely looks like conventional career paths, but instead involves finding ways to serve human evolution, whether through healing, teaching, creating, or simply anchoring higher consciousness. Dr. Weiss emphasizes that these souls must learn to honor their developmental timeline. While others might achieve conventional success in their 20s and 30s, old souls often need their 40s, 50s, and beyond to fully bloom. This isn't delay, it's perfect timing for the type of contribution they're here to make. One crucial lesson from Dr. Weiss's work is the importance of what he calls soul community. These individuals often feel isolated until they find others who share their perspective and purpose. Building connections with like-minded souls becomes essential for their development and success. The financial aspect often resolves itself naturally when these souls align with their purpose. Dr. Weiss has observed that old souls frequently experience what seems like miraculous support when they finally commit to their authentic path. Resources, opportunities, and assistance appear in ways that seem too perfectly timed to be coincidence. Perhaps most importantly, Dr. Weiss teaches that these souls must release the need for external validation and learn to trust their inner guidance completely. Their success often looks different from conventional achievements, focusing more on impact, service, and spiritual growth than traditional metrics like wealth or status. Thank the higher plan by leaving your like as a sign of connection and gratitude for this message received. Your positive energy helps this wisdom reach more souls who are ready to embrace their truth. The implications of Dr. Weiss's work extend far beyond individual healing. He suggests that these old souls are incarnating now because humanity is at a critical juncture. Their sensitivity, wisdom, and different way of seeing are exactly what's needed to help navigate current global challenges and evolutionary opportunities. These individuals often become bridges between the spiritual and material worlds, helping translate ancient wisdom into modern applications. They might develop healing modalities that integrate science and spirituality, create art that awakens consciousness, or build businesses that prioritize service over profit. Dr. Weiss has observed that as these souls embrace their path later in life, they often accomplish in a decade what might take others a lifetime to achieve. Their years of preparation, combined with their accumulated wisdom, create a powerful foundation for rapid manifestation once they align with their purpose. The success these personalities achieve later in life often has a quality of effortlessness that surprises them. After years of struggling to fit into conventional molds, they discover that when they honor their true nature, opportunities flow toward them naturally. This isn't luck. It's the universe responding to their alignment with their soul's plan. Many of these individuals find that their greatest contributions come through simply being authentically themselves. Their presence alone helps others remember their own spiritual nature. They become living examples that there are different ways to navigate life, different definitions of success and different timelines for achievement. Dr. Weiss's research suggests that the struggles these souls face in their early years serve a specific purpose. They develop compassion, resilience, and deep understanding of human suffering that becomes essential for their later work. They can't help heal what they haven't experienced, can't teach what they haven't learned, and can't guide others through challenges they haven't navigated themselves. The timing of their success also serves the collective. When these souls come into their power later in life, they bring a level of wisdom and spiritual maturity that creates lasting, positive impact. They're less likely to be corrupted by early success or to use their gifts in self-serving ways. Comment, I align with the purposes of good and continue firmly on my journey of elevation. Your commitment to growth helps anchor higher consciousness for everyone. As we reflect on Dr. Brian Weiss's profound insights about rare personalities and late-life success, several transformational truths emerge. These old souls aren't delayed developers, they're precisely timed gifts to humanity, arriving at their moment of greatest readiness to serve. The struggles, the feeling of not fitting in, the sense of being different, all of this serves a purpose that becomes clear only in retrospect. These souls are gathering experience, developing compassion, and building the inner strength necessary for their ultimate contribution to human evolution. If you recognize yourself in this description, know that your time is coming. The qualities that made you feel like an outsider are actually preparing you to become a way shower. Your sensitivity is your superpower, your different perspective is your gift to the world, and your unconventional timeline is perfectly aligned with your soul's plan. Dr. Weiss's work reminds us that success isn't about meeting external expectations or achieving milestones by certain ages. True success is about aligning with your soul's purpose and using your unique gifts to serve the highest good. For old souls, this alignment often happens later in life, but when it does, the impact is profound and lasting. The world